Yo, yo, yo! It's your girl Rose Gold, and you are tuned in for another episode of Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Listen, I am in the fabulous downtown Los Angeles, California, attending Hollywood Nights. This event has been going on for the last few hours, and we have nothing but the best artists here. And as to introduce nothing but the best, I am sitting here with the one and only King Kato. I have just had the amazing opportunity to see this young man perform, and let me tell you guys, this is what you call talent, okay? This is not me gassing. This is for real. This young man literally transformed. He has this demeanor. He's really humble, laid back, cool guy. But when he's on stage, it's like a completely different person. And he turned the crowd up. It was amazing. He had a message in his music. It was just great. So without further ado, King Kato.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for being on the show. We are so honored to have you here. When you came to LA today, were you expecting to get on a podcast?
Not at all. Not at all. But I came to LA to be productive and make the most out of my trip. So if the opportunity presents itself, I gotta take it, man.
Exactly. That's exactly what we like to hear. King Kato, how long have you been doing music?
Let's see. I really decided that music is what I wanted to do with my life when I was like 18,
Okay.
but I didn't really start getting serious about my music and my career till I was like 20 years old. That's when I started getting in like the studio and
Yeah.
like really learning how to like formulate songs and all this other stuff, and just kind of learning ins and out of like how the ins and outs of how to like record and things like that,
Yeah.
like because I had never even like stepped into a studio before, like so
Oh, okay.
until then, like I was just like I feel like I can't really call myself a rapper and say that I was rapping unless I was like actually like doing real stuff with what my music could present for me, you know what I
Right.
mean? So I had to really step it up. And when I started getting serious, I had a friend that I worked with at Target. She's actually a local artist. Her
Okay.
name's Sweets P. And, so we worked together at Target for a while. And
Yeah.
she introduced me to like my first ever like studio. His name is Sippy Zone. He owns a studio in downtown Minneapolis.
Okay.
I believe it's called Cbos. I don't know exactly how to say it, CBOS, but City's on, man. He a real cool dude. And Amber Sweet P introduced me to him. And
Okay.
so, I ended up like recording couple songs there, you know what I mean? And she eventually let me do my very first ever show. Like she let me open up for her and things
Yeah.
like that. So, she gave me like a lot of opportunities. So, like I owe her a lot, but I definitely feel like I don't know, like she just has kind of helped me, like to where I am today. She played like a really big hand in that because
Yeah.
she kind of gave me like a lot of first opportunities that I probably would have not had, and if I didn't get those opportunities, I might not be where I am today, sitting here with you doing this podcast. So,
Right. No, that's dope. You always want to give honor and homage, especially when it's due. So I think that's really dope for you now. I did hear you say that you started out in Minnesota as far as when you started getting serious about your craft. Are you originally from Minnesota?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I was born in Minnesota, but I
Okay.
was technically raised in like Minnesota and Vegas
Okay.
because I lost my mom when I was 7 years old. So
Okay.
I ended up living with my aunt, and then my aunt ended up moving us to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I kind of like spent my life back and forth. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
So we kind of ended up getting evicted from this house that we had in Vegas, and so after that, she moved us to back to Minnesota, and then from there, I decided that I wasn't really happy living with her anymore, and I wanted to go stay with my brother who was still in Vegas, and so I
Your big
went.
brother?
Yeah, yeah, my big brother in Vegas. So I went and I left, and went and started staying with him, and so that's where I spent the majority of like my high school years and like my middle school years, and where I got like the majority of like my day one friends and things like that. So I was born in Minnesota, but I was raised in Vegas, and then I moved back to Minnesota after I graduated from high school because I just wanted to really, well, I was actually getting into a lot of trouble, so that's really what it was. So that's what my brother made me.
You could have no, that's what's up, bro. That's dope. But it's good. I mean, that's it's always a blessing you have an old sibling. You was able to at least, learn some things from him and then you
Yeah,
came
yeah,
back, so that's
definitely.
definitely
He's
dope.
like he's like a brother and a dad, so we have a unique relationship because
Yeah.
my dad was never in my life growing up, so
Mhm.
therefore like my brother was like my father figure, especially like because throughout like high school, he's the one who was like raising me and things like that. Like it was
Right.
just me and him, so well me, him and his son, so you know what I mean? Like
Do you feel like, or have you ever thought about how losing your mom at such a young age influenced your music?
Definitely. It plays a huge part on everything I do in my life because all I want to do is make her proud of me. Like, I know, I feel like she is constantly looking down on me, and you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I would never want to do anything that would disappoint her. So I try to live my life the way that she would, you know what I mean, like and be proud of and be happy for me, you know what I mean? And things that would make her smile, like seeing me perform and chasing my dreams and
Yeah.
going after the things that I love in my life, I feel like she would really be proud of me. And, you know, I ironically, like, coincidentally met my big brother from my dad's side for the
Mm.
very first time tonight.
Wow. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Here in LA?
Yep. He came to the
Wow.
show to support me, so.
Well, that's dope. So he was out in the crowd when we were out there.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's he's your big brother on your father's side.
yeah,
Wow, I think that that's truly amazing. Everything happens for a reason. So it seems like everything kind of brought you to this moment,
yeah, yeah,
all
yeah.
working this thing. That's what's up. So as we were talking kind of off camera before we started the interview, you were telling me that you had a clothing line that was coming out.
Yeah, I have a clothing line called Manifest Millions. So it's just basically like I was explaining it earlier to my brother. It's something that was like inspirational and motivational to me. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like every morning I would try to make like motivational posts on Facebook for others and for myself. And
Mm-hmm.
then eventually one day it just came to me like I'm trying to manifest millions into my life. So like I started using the hashtag manifest millions
Mm.
and then it started catching on and people started using it and started sharing it and things like
Right.
that and started saying it. So I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna stop saying this. And then after I stopped saying it, other people stopped saying it because they wasn't seeing me. And then I let a couple weeks go by. I got the logo drawn up and designed. My friend KJ, this is her clothing line, Dreamers vs. Villains. She
Dope
drew
hat. I
she
love
drew
that.
she drew the logo for me, and so she really helped me out right there. And so yeah, so the Manifest Millions, she drew the logo for me, which really was like the basis of the design. And then after that, I dropped. Well, I had she plugged me with like a graphic designer who could do the logo for me
Sure.
on Fiverr, and so he did the logo for me, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. After she drew it up, it was like exactly how I pictured it, and so I announced that like, all right, how I was using this hashtag and everybody was like liking it and
Mm-hmm.
people started using it. Well, now I'm about to take this hashtag and I'm about to turn this hashtag into a clothing line. And
Right.
you know what I mean? Like y'all will have manifest millions gear to rock. So some of my stuff might even say like hashtag manifest millions on it just because
Just because that's where it started from.
that's how it started. So
And
but
do you feel, and just to kind of keep going with what you were saying about the brand itself, do you think that it's important for like music or even clothing lines for you to be up to date with trends? And if so, how do you think people could do that?
Yeah, it definitely is important for you to be up with trends because you got to know what people want and what people are looking for and what people like. You know what I mean? So that's like, especially if you're gonna do like a clothing line or you're gonna do music. Like, well, not necessarily music. I feel like there's so many people in the world that like you can make whatever kind of music you want. There's gonna be people out there that mess with you. You know what I mean? Because there's
Literally.
just so many people out there and so many different kinds of interests that people have that like you might even if it's only 500 people in the entire world, like you will still have that group of 500 people that like your music. You know what I mean? Even if it's the weirdest music that's like ever
Yeah.
been heard. You know what I mean?
Somebody will
So,
listen. That's
so,
cool.
but if you're doing things like a clothing brand, you definitely have to know like what's in style because like you got to know what people want to wear and what people are wearing and what's like trending. Like you can't be trying to be bringing back the super baby clothes. Like you know what I mean? Like you're gonna get clowned for things like that. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean? So
Right.
you
No.
gotta know. You gotta know like what's going on and what people
Yeah.
like and what people are looking for. I feel like that's like a really major thing. So I
Listen.
definitely know like I wanna like I might because I know a ski mask attendant, so I might make like some that's million ski masks. But what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask you, like, where do you get these like trends? Where do you go to keep up with your trends as far as knowing what's relevant? Like, is there
I
like social
mean,
media?
yeah, I would say Facebook, Twitter, especially Twitter. Like
Yeah,
Twitter, I feel
Twitter.
like Twitter is really like if you see something trending on Twitter, especially like relating to like a clothing line or something like that, just check it out and see what's going on. It might just be like some gossip stuff, or it might be like
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean. Somebody's dropping like a new brand, and you can take some ideas from this person or from that brand. You know what I mean, and really implement it into your own. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because I feel like everybody copies some aspect of something and
Yeah,
everything. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good point.
especially in music. You know what I mean? Like everything is recycled. You'll hear so many samples from songs from 10 years ago, 20 years
Yes,
ago,
very
30 years
true.
ago. So
That's super true. Now, so growing up as a little boy in Minnesota, did you ever feel afraid to pursue your dreams?
I don't know, I felt like when I was little, I didn't really think about like my dreams, you know what I mean? Like when I was little, I had a traumatic childhood, so I felt like when I was little, I was just really spending a lot of time trying to cope, even if I wasn't realizing it, you know what I mean? Like just trying to cope with all my losses and everything that I've been through, like losing my mom and then you know what I mean, like 3 or 4 years later, my grandpa passing, and then you know what I mean, just like constant
Yeah.
things, just constant things going on. You know what I mean? Drama within my personal, like my family, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just such a crazy childhood that I feel like you know what I mean? Dreams and things like that were never really things that I had. I was just kind of trying to make it through, like,
Mm-hmm.
because my childhood was always something going on. It
Yeah.
was just really traumatic and really like crazy. So I feel like as I started getting older is when I started dreaming more.
I
Like
see.
I wanted more for myself. I didn't want to keep in the same patterns of wearing the same clothes to school 3 or 4 times a week. You know what I mean? Going home, washing the outfit that I fucking wore yesterday and then wearing
Right.
it the next day. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, because I didn't have any clothes or things like that. Because, like I said, my brother was the one who raised me. And my brother's only 4 years older than me. So
Mm.
he had a baby as well. So it was like, he couldn't really give me the things that I wanted or I was looking for. So that's kind of like why I ended up down this path of like wanting to be like an artist or, you know what I mean, just wanting
Right.
to do things that wanted to make me happy because like I just felt so depressed growing up all the time. Like it was really just always like never really having that feeling of happiness or having that
Mm.
feeling of like a family or things like that where like you feel like really loved. I felt like
Mm.
really neglected growing up and things like that. So it was just like really tough. But I feel like all of those things played into me as I got older,
Right.
wanting to be successful and wanting more for myself and wanting more for like my kids and my family that I
Right.
like, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to ever have them to have to go through things that I went through when I was a kid.
Right. No, that's dope. And when I watched you perform, you would never know from watching you that you had a traumatic childhood or that. And then what did you do to kind of like cope with that? And then what did you do to cope with those feelings so that they don't show at all? Because honestly, I would never have known that unless you had told me that. And then when did that depression and sadness of childhood end for you? What was the turning point for that?
I don't know, I felt like I just kind of naturally learned how to just smile through everything. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just, I just always, that's a good question. I just feel like I've never really sat back and thought about like how I managed to make it through everything in
Right.
my childhood. I just always been like, well, I made it through it, and I've just try to always focus on like, you know what I mean? And if I really sit back and think about it, like maybe it was just like a natural thing. Maybe it just came to me, you know what I mean? I can't really put my finger on it, but when it ended, I mean, I don't know. Has it ended? I can't say. That's a good question. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's one of the things that blocks me in certain things in my personal life that what I mean don't seem to like work out the way I want them to. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that I could really go deep into those questions, and those are very good questions, and they're questions that make me think and reflect on my personal life for sure. Like they're real things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a kid, when you go through a lot and you don't really have anybody to talk to or deal with those things, they kind of follow you throughout your life. You know
Very
what I
true.
mean? So you have to find a way to deal with them without like just internalizing everything and just
Mm-hmm.
like ignoring it like it doesn't exist or it never happened. Like you have to really find a way to not cope but heal.
But
Like you
here,
can't
right.
cope. You have to heal because if you cope, you're never gonna like be able to get the things that you really want in life. And I not like financially or things
Sure.
like that, but
No.
like
Yeah.
emotionally and
Mm-hmm.
mentally, you know what I mean, where you feel like you're happy and you feel like you love yourself and things like that. So,
No, that makes
but
sense.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe it just happened through my adult life as I've gone on. I've just kind of tried to figure out ways to like love myself and really just
Mm-hmm.
like live in my own skin and be confident of who I am. You know what I mean? I didn't have a lot of confidence when I was younger, but
Mm-hmm.
as I've gotten older, I've gained more confidence in myself and who I am as a person and what I want to do. And I feel like there's just nothing that I can't accomplish. And so I feel like I've just learned how to love myself and I'm still learning. And I feel like all that has helped me deal with everything that I've really been through as a kid because I didn't have anybody that I wouldn't say I didn't have anybody that loved me. I just didn't have anybody that was expressing showing love for
Mm-hmm.
me the way that you should to a child that
Mm-hmm.
had been through the things that I had been through in my life. Like that's just the way life goes sometimes. And so all this plays into my music as
Right.
like I just want to give people something that shows no matter what you've been through, no matter what you've gone through, no matter what you go through, you can overcome it and be successful and see the things that you want for yourself come to fruition as long as you stay dedicated and no matter what hardships you face just keep going, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
if you if
Exactly.
you gotta if you gotta fucking file for bankruptcy, then do that shit and fucking keep it pushing, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever you have to do it and just don't look back, keep going forward because like if you dwell on things, it's not going to go anywhere. I recorded a bunch of songs. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
any of the vocal files for them. I have to redo them all or scratch them. I can scratch them and just focus on trying to write new songs. I can redo them and spend a bunch of money on studio sessions redoing songs that I already spent a bunch of money on studio sessions to record. So
Right.
it's like things are gonna happen though. You're gonna suffer ups and downs, especially in the music game. Like so you gotta be able to stick through everything. And you will have your character tested, you will have your mind tested, you will have times where you just feel like you're not getting anywhere and you just want to give up because it's just like
Very true.
what's the purpose of everything, especially because you feel like you're not gaining any fans or any traction or anything like that. But my advice would just be like just keep going regardless. Like I feel like I'm not where I want to be, but I haven't stopped because I'm going to get to where I want to be eventually, no matter what I have to do. It's just all about your perseverance and your dedication and your mindset and how far and how hard you're willing to work and how hard you're willing to go. Like, and I know I will see everything that I want be
Mm-hmm.
mine.
Do you have a favorite project that you've done thus far? Be a song or a business?
It would probably be my first project, freshman season, because like it just means the most to me. Like
Tell me about that.
that was like my first real project that I ever released. You know what I mean? Like I had released like some songs here and there on SoundCloud, but like this was like a full-fledged project, and like I spent a lot of time working on it, and like I mean like a few years, like two to 3 years, like writing all the songs and like scratching songs and writing new songs, and so like freshman season ended up being this, but like there were so many other versions of it before it finally came out, you know what I mean? Where I was just constantly feeling like, all right, well, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I have to keep going. I have to keep writing new songs until like I feel like my craft is at a point where I'm comfortable to release an entire project to the public and have people be able to judge my music and judge everything that I and the reception of it was really well, you know what I mean? Like
They loved it.
like it was really good, you know. I would say if anything, like one thing I wish I could have done was just like have like you know, better quality for the project, you know what I mean? But overall, like I love the project and you know what I mean? Like it was and that's my baby. That's my first project.
Exactly.
So
That first one, I feel like a lot of first things, you always have that special relationship with the
yeah.
first, you know what I mean? What are three pieces of advice you would give to people who are forming a group or who may be in a group?
Number one, man, if you're gonna form a group, make sure that each and every one of y'all are on the same page. Make sure that each and every one of y'all have the same amount of dedication and work ethic, and you know what I mean, understanding each other. You know what I mean, like. If you're gonna be in a group with somebody, you have to make sure that they want it as bad as you do. Otherwise, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? So that's one piece of advice, you know what I mean? Second piece of advice is, you know what I mean, just learn how to like really work with others, you know what I mean? Like sometimes people get so used to like, just doing songs by themselves that like, you're not used to like, oh, try new things. Like if you're in a group, me and my friend, we used to do like back and forth, you know what I mean? Like you gotta try new things, you gotta experiment, you know what I mean? You gotta really set yourself apart because it's hard I feel like it's harder for groups to blow than it is for solo artists because you don't really see a lot of groups, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like the only group I can really think of that has blown is like Migos, you know what I mean? In the past couple of years, you see majority of like solo artists and then solo artists might build a label and have artists under that label, but they're not a group, they're a label.
I know that from a perspective of someone who's had that experience. Sometimes if you have friends that are in the group, it can be difficult. Do you have anything to say as far as when it comes to mixing friends and music or friends and business in general?
Um, it's not always good to mix, you know what I mean, personal relationships with business. It can complicate things. But like I said, as long as everybody is on the same page and y'all all want it the same, like you all have the same hunger, the same desire, you all want the same things, like everything should work out. You know what I mean? Like you just as long as everybody's really putting in that work and really wants it, you know what I mean? So I just feel like it's kind of up to like the individuals, you know what I mean? Like, because you can't really control what other people in the group are gonna do, so you just kind of have to be prepared for anything. But you always have to be willing to like do your own thing if it comes down to it. You know what I mean? Like,
Being able to do your own
yeah,
thing.
like you may have a group, but don't forget that you're also like an artist as well. So like you have to focus on your solo career too. You know what I mean? You want like Quavo and Takeoff. They've kind of separated themselves where like you hear their personal careers have really taken off where what I mean Migos I feel like has fallen off, you know what I mean? Like you see Quavo and Takeoff their personal careers, so you also want to if you're gonna really be dedicated to having a group and also having a solo career, you want to find like a good balance for both of them.
That's a really good piece of advice. I think a lot of times when it comes, there's a lot of feelings involved with your friends. You don't ever want to cross anybody or hurt anybody's feelings, but business is business at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely.
And now, King Kato, do you have children?
No,
No.
no,
Do you
no.
want to have some of these?
Yeah, definitely. I want to have a little family. I want to have little mini me's running around, but I gotta make sure that I can get them everything they want from day one. So I got a lot of work to do before I can make that happen.
Right. So you want them, you're just not actively making them at this
Yeah.
point. Okay, no, that's dope. So did you ever, from when you started performing to now, did you ever deal with stage fright?
I would say my first show, the one that Sweets put me on, I was pretty nervous. Like you could tell, like if you look at my performance from like literally just my second ever performance compared to my first performance, the difference is like night and day because I was so tense and so nervous and and then I don't know, like I got another opportunity to do a show on this festival and I was like, you know what, man? I gotta kill this shit because, I was like, dude, I don't like what I did at all that night. I felt like my performance was so whack. Like, I gotta have energy. I seen the other artists that were up there that went up after me, and I had never really been to like a show before. This was like my first time actually going to a show too. So it was like, so now I'm like, all right, well, I see how these artists are getting down. You know what I mean? Like they come with a lot of energy when they're on stage. So I gotta like make sure that I bring energy when I'm up there because that's gonna keep people engaged and make people listen. When you come with energy and you come with like, you got that people will see it. You know what I mean? Like tonight, the mic was cutting in and out, but like I never let it stop me. You know what I mean? Like,
At
I was
all.
going, I was
You
going.
could even tell. Yes.
You have to work through any setbacks. Like you know what I mean? So I just felt like it was a good example of like what I'm really capable of. You know what I mean?
Mm. No, that's dope. And I definitely was watching up there because, like, you were still carrying on like nothing. And it was just like a little glitch and then it would come back on and that was that. But it's like I never lost the rhythm of what you were saying.
I never let it throw me off.
Yeah, not even once. Like, you stay on being everything. Now, that's real talent. That's how you know that it's really a natural thing. And I think that a lot of artists, they get so caught up in, I guess the dramas of being an artist that they don't always, embrace the difficult. I definitely liked it that. Now, as far as the clothing line, what else can we expect from King Kato?
I have a lot of plans. I have a lot of plans. I got plans for a nightclub. I got plans for a studio. I got plans for so many things. I just got my brain is always working, always working. So you can expect a lot from me in the future. This is definitely only the beginning for me. Like I promise, like I got so much that I want to make happen, so much that I want to do, so much that I want to accomplish. Like just not just music, but outside of music as well. Because I feel like music is just something. It's not just something, you know what I mean? Let me not say it like that because music is my life. I love music. But music is something that can open the door to a lot of things, you know what I mean? Like it is a key to open a lot of doors that might not otherwise open for you. You know what I mean? Like a lot of artists have been able to do things that they might not have otherwise been able to do. You know what I mean? Like you don't see sports players doing those things. You don't see like things like that. So like music is a beautiful thing that can present you with a lot of opportunities outside of it as well. You know what I mean? So I feel like I have plans that I want to do that kind of involve music, but not like involve music as in like my music career. They're just like things that like having a professional studio that involves music, but it doesn't involve like my professional career. Like it involves my professional career in an extent that once my professional career is to that point that I can open up my own professional recording studio for top notch artists in the industry to come and record at, then you know what I mean. Like that's what the goal is, but it doesn't really influence like how my career goes up or down, positive or negative. You know what I mean? Like it's just a project that would be, you know what I mean, and its income or revenue streams from something like that wouldn't be in the same avenue or same place as like my music money where I get from streams and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's just another stream of income because it's always good to have more than one stream of income. You should honestly have more than like 2 to 3 streams of income. You should probably want to have like 5 plus streams of income if you have multi-million-dollar dreams. Like if you have multi-million-dollar dreams, you
Right.
definitely want to have more than one or two or three streams of income. Like a lot of millionaires have five plus streams of income. Like that's just kind of how it is, man. You got to be getting money in all aspects. You know what I mean? Like money when you sleep, money when you eat, money when you're working out, all that. You know what I mean? So
No, that's very true. You know, Warren Buffett, he's a very popular investor. I watch a lot of his stuff. Just, kind of always getting his ideas, and he is the one that said, 7 streams of income can make you a millionaire. So I definitely agree with having multiple streams. Now, as you have progressed in the music scene and the music industry, what do you feel like the music of today is missing the most as far as mainstream?
I feel like it's missing people that actually care about the industry. You know what I'm saying? Like it's missing people that care about lyricism. It's missing people that care about storytelling. It's missing people that care about, even in like the music video aspect of like, you know what I mean? Music videos used to kind of be like mini movies, you know what I mean?
Right,
And
exactly.
now they're just like music videos might not have anything to do with the concept of the song or anything like that. So it's just all things that I feel like music has been missing over the years. I love seeing, storytelling songs or like Joyner Lucas, he's a very good with like music videos. Like he can tell stories in his music videos without like his lyrics, you know what I mean? It's just little things that you can pick up on. But Joyner Lucas's music videos are always like mini movies to his
Yeah, for
songs,
sure.
you know what I mean? So like they always do such a great job with that. And so I feel like it needs more of that. It just needs more people who actually care about, craft and really getting and being the best that they can be and, really loving the game and loving that aspect of the game where it's like lyricism is dope and you know what I mean? Like it's popping. That's why I love dudes like Benny the Butcher and Griselda because like they're bringing back that bars, you know what I mean? Where it's like you had to be able to really rap to be in this game, like, and that's how it used to be. Like, you didn't be able to rap in the '90s or the early 2000s. You were gonna do shit, and then Soulja Boy came around, and then everything changed. Like,
No, for sure. I definitely. Now, if there was anything that you can say to today's artists besides telling them to actually care about the game more and to really put meaning behind their lyrics, do you think that there's anything as far as the messages that they're providing, not about, how they grew up, because people talk about how they grew up,
yeah,
but do you think that there could be a more positive message?
yeah, man. Like, if you made it out of the trap and you made it out of the hood, why keep rapping about all the stuff that you did while you was in the hood? I like when Meek Mill talks about like lessons that he's learned, you know what I mean, from growing up in the hood and things like that, you know what I mean? Like I like when Meek Mill like raps about like, you know what I mean, like things that you should watch out for if you're in the hood, you know what I mean? Like but not necessarily rapping about all the things that he did in the hood or acting like he's still in the hood or you know what I mean, like still selling whatever drugs, doing all that extra shit, you know what I mean? Like nah, bro, just keep the message positive and you know what I mean, like kind of try to tell, you know what I mean, how to get out of the hood, you know what I mean? Like how to or if you feel like you can't get out, how to at least manage while you in that motherfucker, you know what I mean, and survive, you know what I mean? Like but like or you know what I mean, how to watch out for the snakes, how to watch out for the people that want to get you, you know what I mean? Shit like that. But like there's no need to keep rapping about like when you was shooting at motherfuckers and when you was selling drugs or like, you know what I mean, all that other shit. Like, I just feel like you should try to keep it more like trying to like teach people and you know what I mean, like really show motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Because you could really have like a really more bigger, more positive impact than you do if you were to like really do things like that, you know what I mean? But I don't know. Some people would disagree with me though. You know what I mean? Like he might disagree with me himself. And Meek is one of my favorite artists. We actually had the same birthday, so like it's like yeah, it's like that's like one of my favorite artists. He's been since I was in high school. So I love all his music. I just really like when he raps about more positive stuff, though, for sure.
Yeah, no matter what kind of music you put out, somebody gonna listen eventually.
Yeah.
That's very true. And I think so. As you are moving forward in your music career as a solo artist, do you think you ever get back in a group again, or would you ever?
Nah, I prefer being solo. You know what I
Prefer
mean?
that?
Like I'm always down to collab with anybody who want to work with me. You know what I mean? But I just want to be able to do my own thing. I don't want to have to worry about other people. You know what I'm saying, or anything like that. Like I just like having the freedom to be able to take the time to work on my craft and if I want to renovate my sound or reinvent myself as an artist, like I can really do that. You know what I mean? And I don't have to worry about like, well, I have a group that I have to be there for, that I have to kind of constantly like be worried about, like trying to make sure that I'm keeping up with all the songs that we're trying to make and all that stuff, while at the same time like wanting to be able to take the time to really focus on myself and focus on the music that I want to make for myself, you know what I mean? Aside from like the music that I would want to make in the group. So I feel like I just prefer to be able to focus on my own career and not have to worry about any of that, you know what I mean? Like I like working with other artists, you know what I mean? Of course I love working with other artists, but you know, as like far as like just joining a group or a duo or anything like that, like I'm kind of fine and happy where I'm at being a solo artist, and I feel like I definitely can and will make it as a solo artist.
No, I definitely agree with you. And I think that it could be a lot dealing with multiple people, especially even if you guys are on the same page. It can be difficult to manage your career and then the career of the group because it is
Yeah.
separate. No matter how people look at it, it is, sometimes a separate thing. Who are some of your musical influences?
The first album I ever got was 50.
Give us a background.
Yeah.
Give me some bad ones, many, 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 many.
So that's the first album. That's the first album I ever got. That was like my favorite artist all throughout my childhood. I really loved his music. Give it to Got Trying, The Massacre, Curtis, all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like I just felt like he couldn't do no wrong when I was a kid, man. And then as I started getting older, I started getting into like Wayne. Wayne started influencing me a lot. You know what I mean? Like I listened to a lot of his music growing up. That's one of my favorite artists for sure. Then I got, you know what I mean, like dudes like, Drake, who I started getting into when I was like in high school, you know what I mean? But I would have to say, man, like the biggest person and the most impactful person all my life and my career is Nip, man. Like Nipsey Hussle was my biggest inspiration, biggest motivation, still is to this day, will never not be, because Nip is just that nigga that if you can't fuck with Nip, I can't fuck with you, like, cause something's wrong with you. You must not like hearing that game in your ear. You must not like success. You must not like wanting to fucking make some real moves, because Nipsey Hussle was the epitome of all that. You know what I mean? Like he told me fuck the middleman. He told me you can do this shit on your own. He told me you don't need no label. He told me, nigga, if you can manifest this shit, if you can think it, if you can talk it, you can make it happen. You just gotta put in that work. You know what I mean? This is a nigga who was motherfuckers probably never expected to do the things he was doing. You know what I mean? Like he was literally buying back Crenshaw. Like, you know what I mean? Like Nip was gonna be a billionaire. Like Nip was gonna be stupid. I believe that Nip was gonna surpass Jay Z. Like I really do. Like I think Nip was gonna have more money than Jay Z one day, because Nip was just so smart and he just saw the future. Like he saw. Some people see 10 steps ahead. I feel like Nip saw like 100 steps ahead. You know what I mean? Like he was just that dude, man. And so I just soaked up everything he was saying in his songs. And man, when he died, I cried, because that really broke my heart. I don't know if there's any other artist in this game that if they ever died, I would ever be like that hurt, because like I just Nip was like, I wanted to work with him. That was literally like one of my things. Like I was literally trying to manifest it. So I saved his name in my phone without a number. There was no number, but there was still a contact name for him in my phone, because I was trying to manifest that connection and that opportunity to just get a conversation with him. You know what I mean? Like even if I could just have one conversation with him, that would have made my everything, man. and let alone being able to do a song with him or work with him on like a personal level, like that was just my biggest, most heavy influence on everything I do still to this day. Like I always have him right there in the back of my mind. Like I don't know, like he just if I could talk to him, I just wish I could tell him before he died, like how big of an influence he had on me and how much he really meant to me, like not just as an artist, but just as a person, because everything that he said, he really stood on and he really did, and it's just like, man, I wanted to be like that, like, and I still do.
I think that's amazing. So it's definitely a great gift. And as we get ready to close in a few minutes here, I want to ask you, do you, along this journey, ever find yourself being confused? And when you are, what do you do?
When I'm confused or I'm feeling like I don't know or I'm questioning things, which it's not very often. It's really rare where like I question anything or I feel confused. I just honestly I listen to Nipsey Hussle. Like I really do. Like I listen to Nipsey Hussle or I have like a playlist that's just like motivational songs, and then I'll watch like motivational speeches, or I'll listen to things that like I know inspire me or will like kind of help me get out of that funk, and you know what I mean. And then I try to surround myself with positive people as well, people that'll like really help me get back focused, and not people that I know want the best for me and will really push me to like be better. You know what I mean? So if I'm ever feeling confused or lost or anything like that, like I kind of have like little methods to try to get myself out of it. And if those don't work, then I just try something, you know what I mean, that I have never tried before. I'll do is I'll ask other people for advice, like, I'll try other things that, well, maybe something that works for you, you know what I mean? If I try it, it might work for me too, you know what I mean? So there's just that opportunity or just that possibility. So it's always things that you can do to try to get yourself out of a funk for sure. At least to me, you know what I mean. Like some people feel like they can never get out of the funk, but I feel like writer's block, all those things are only temporary.
Oh, that's definitely dope, and I agree 100%. Now tell the fans where they can find more of King Kato.
At King Kato, KNGKATO on pretty much all platforms, man. Twitter, Instagram, social media. If you're looking for me on iTunes or Spotify, it's King Kato. You know what I mean? You can look up my project that I dropped about a year and a half ago called Sapera, Sapera, or you can look up my song that I dropped on 420 last year called Stress Free, or you can look up my debut project called Freshman Season, which I originally released on SoundCloud, but for the 1 year anniversary of it last year, I decided that I was going to upload it onto all major streaming platforms. So it's now on iTunes and Spotify and all that. So if you're looking for me, at KNGKATO and at KINGKATO on all streaming platforms. Thank you so much for having me. It was definitely a blessing having you. Listen, you heard it here first. King Kato is in the business, Heartbreak Hill Podcast. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to be here with me. Go ahead and hit us up on all platforms, Heartbreak Hill Podcast. If you want to be on the show, you got questions. I'm slowly getting back to all of you guys. I do have an assistant now. We are getting through those emails. Shoot us one if you want to hear from us. Heartbreakhillpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much. And remember, all love, no judgment. Thank you so much for tuning in to Heartbreak Hill Podcast. Our mission here is to use multimedia channels to break generational curses in our thought process. Our motto here is breaking hearts, blowing minds, one conversation at a time. Please note that our entire production is brought forth by listeners and viewers just like you. Thank you. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our website at heartbreakhillpodcast.com.